What's up YouTube, Capital G here, looking at a new card from the 20th anniversary pack called Passionate Duelist, and I am in love with this card. I think it has so much utility. I think the card is amazing. I almost want to say like low-key broken. It's one of those cards, it's kind of weird. It's like one of those cards where it doesn't matter if everyone on earth is trying to tell you that it's bad. Like you just will not believe them. I'm that way with like Fairy Box. It doesn't matter how many people are like, Cap, that card's terrible. I'm like, nah, Fairy Box is like one of the best cards in the game. You cannot tell me, even if people like this card, that's fine. But even if you guys like this card, I'm not just you're not going to convince me that this is a bad card, because I think this card is just amazing and has so much potential. So it's called it's called Passionate Duelist. It's a continuous spell card with 3 different effects. I think all 3 of them are really, really good. Effect number 1: when a monster you control declares an attack, you can target one spell or trap card your opponent controls, negate that attack, then destroy that card. This is basically like a fucking continuous MST that you can use during the battle phase. And guess what? Of course, we get a battle phase every single turn. Like, how good is that? Just being able to potentially put a couple of monsters in attack mode, attack a couple of times, negate your own attack. So yeah, you don't necessarily get that much out of your battle phase, but you just get to go ape shit all over their back row. And you can even take it up to the next level. You could even like troll around with it, maybe play like scapegoats or something like that, and you could potentially just feather dust your opponent's back row. What I like about it is, even if your opponent has the bigger monster and you weren't going to be able to get anything out of your battle phase, you now have a way of getting something out of your battle phase. Just put your little monsters in attack mode and just run over, you know, basically their back row, and it makes your main play too like plays a lot safer. Like, let's say you have to go into like a Castell, or you have to go into something that has removal in it, like Ignister, but you are kind of afraid of back row, like Solemns and whatnot. Just put your monsters in attack mode, just normal summon them, whatever, attack, blow their shit up. You weren't going to get much use out of your battle phase anyways, and then go for that play in main phase 2. Effect number 2, while this card is in the spell or trap zone, each player can only set 1 spell or trap from their hand per turn. Also, when a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, and a monster special summoned from the extra deck cannot attack during the turn it was special summoned. Is it me, or is this effect basically just fucking like get shit on Paleozoic? Could you imagine if you go first against Paleozoic and you activate this, and they can only, like, they have 6 cards and they can only set 1 card? Like, what do they do? I mean, yeah, they can go Swap Frog and like that's it. I mean, that's like the only play they have. Like, that is a deck that is predicated on, like, I don't know, 60% of the deck plus being like traps, and if they can't set everything, they're not getting anywhere. A lot of those traps too are cards that get them to other cards like Reckless Greed and, you know, their little Destiny Draw cards. So that card, that just shits on them, or it's just good against like these anti-meta-ish decks like Heroes. I mean, Heroes can make their Dark Law and stuff like that, but if they can't protect it with any traps, like what is Dark Law really doing? If they can't set their, you know, their Solemns or their Vanities or their Time Space Trap Holes, their you know, like Floodgate Trap Holes, then they're not going to be able to protect their boss monsters for long. So I think this effect is really good. And then also just kind of the annoying effect that your opponent can't use anything out of the extra, like they can't attack with it. If it negated effects, I'd be like, oh my god, this shit is like broken. If it, during the turn that they were summoned, it negated their effects and they couldn't attack, I'd be like, oh god, lose 1 turn, just got power creep. And then the third effect, which I think is really good, I think it's probably going to be the effect that people probably undervalue the most. Once per turn during your draw phase, before you conduct your normal draw, you can add 1 monster from your graveyard to your hand instead of conducting your normal draw. That effect on paper doesn't actually seem that good. You're just like, oh, well, okay, it's a nice little niche effect. I get the possibility of adding a card from my graveyard instead of drawing, right? You're just like, I'd probably rather get the draw, until you think about things like Max C and, like, you know, Honest, like hand traps. Like, wouldn't you rather have a Max C and just locking your opponents out of their turn basically than get a random draw that might not be good? Like, let's just say you're playing against like ABC or something like that, right? You're playing against the ABC deck, and they activate, I don't know, they activate something like Brilliant Fusion, and you max C them. They're probably, you're going to get a 1-for-1 there, but they're probably not going to keep going off. They're not going to go like Instant Fusion or summon Gold Gadget and keep on summoning. They're probably just going to like pull back on the brakes and not do much of anything. But then think about if you can activate this effect during your normal, or during your draw phase, instead of getting a card like MST that might not even be good against them, just get another max C. You're basically making it so they never can overextend. Or think about that against like Minerva Sworn, or against decks like Paleozoic, where every single time, you know, they like to summon from the graveyard and all those cards start chains. Like, getting a max C every single turn, making sure you always have it as soon as you get, like, that can be a really good effect. Or the same thing with Honest. So when I think about getting hand traps back every single turn, like, I would love that. So I think that this is a card where It's a culmination of 3 very good effects built into one very, very good card. So let me know what you guys think. I think all 3 of these all 3 of these effects combined make an amazing card. I cannot wait for this pack to hit the TCG. I kind of wish that this was a Maximum Crisis, because I feel like that's going to come out before the 20th anniversary pack hits the TCG. But this is a card I can definitely see you building a deck around, or just having a whole lot of fun, especially that first effect, man. Just having a bunch of little like think about Paleozoics, man. Having a bunch of little 1200 monsters that are just like wrecking your opponents like pendulum skills all the time, and they wouldn't have been that useful, you know, for battle phase, any other situation. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Oh my god, this card in barrier statues, what? You could just negate the barrier statues attack, just blow, y'all. That's so good. Anyways, subscribe if you guys have not already.